Some cars become legends because they win races. Others become legends because of what they almost did.
Ferrari wins Le Mans 20.
In the late 1970s, BMW had a dream to build a supercar that could beat the best on the track. It would be fast, sharp, and unlike anything they had ever made. They called it the BMW M1. It looked like a rocket and sounded like thunder. It had the heart of a champion, but just when it was ready to race, everything went wrong. This is the story of a car that had everything it needed to become a legend, but never got its chance. The story of the M1 takes us to the early 70s, 1972 to be precise. BMW was already doing pretty well on European racetracks, wins here and there. You could say they were not bad, but not bad wasn't enough. They wanted more, much more. They wanted to go toe-to-toe with the big dogs, Porsche, Ferrari, you name it. And to do that, they had their eyes locked on the Group 5 racing series. This series was a brutal battlefield where only the best survived. But there was a problem. To enter Group 5, you had to build at least 400 street-legal versions of your race car. That meant BMW couldn't just tweak an existing model. They needed to create something completely new, something wild. And that's where Jochen Neerpasch comes in. Neerpasch was the guy running BMW Motorsport GmbH at the time. And under his leadership, BMW came up with a bold plan, a mid-engine supercar. Now, hold up, that sounded simple, right? But back then, BMW had zero experience building mid-engine machines. Front-engine setups were their bread and butter, so this was like jumping into the deep end without knowing how to swim. Mid-engine meant they had to rethink everything. Weight balance, aerodynamics, chassis design, all new territory. But the team put their pride aside and searched for help in Italy, the land of fast cars and fiery passion. And guess who popped up on the radar? Lamborghini. They had the experience, the legacy, the skill. It seemed like the perfect match, but the events that followed proved otherwise. In 1974, BMW teamed up with Lamborghini to build the chassis and handle early production of the M1. Lamborghini had plenty of experience with mid-engine designs, thanks to cars like the Miura and Countach. Together, they looked set to create something truly special, a car that could take on the likes of Ferrari and Porsche, and maybe even beat them. But things weren't as smooth as they seemed. At the time, Lamborghini was in serious financial trouble. The oil crisis had taken a toll on the entire supercar market, and Lamborghini was struggling to stay afloat. On top of that, the Italian government had introduced strict economic policies that only added to the pressure. While BMW was sending over blueprints, components, and technical instructions, they weren't getting much in return. Deliveries were delayed, timelines slipped, and communication became more and more frustrating. It didn't take long for BMW to realize something was wrong. Lamborghini simply couldn't keep up. Their internal problems were getting worse, and by late 1975, things hit a breaking point. Workers went on strike, and the already delayed production came to a full stop. BMW had engineers stationed in Italy, and the reports they were sending back to Munich were alarming. If they continued relying on Lamborghini, the entire M1 project could fall apart. So, BMW took action. They ended the partnership, recovered all their documentation, and immediately started looking for new options. The M1 was too important to abandon. It was time to regroup, refocus, and find a way forward without Lamborghini. After the Lamborghini deal collapsed, BMW didn't waste time. They pushed ahead, still focused on bringing the M1 to life. To handle the design, they brought in Giorgetto Giugiaro from Italdesign, a legendary figure known for creating some of the most iconic cars of the era. Giugiaro designed a wedge-shaped car that looked fast even when standing still. It had pop-up headlights, large air intakes behind the doors, and a smooth, low profile. Despite the futuristic look, Giugiaro made sure the car still felt like a BMW. The twin-kidney grille, though small, was right there at the front. The M1 used a strong, lightweight tubular frame made by Marchesi in Modena. Its body panels were made from fiberglass. This helped keep the weight down to just 1,300 kilograms, making the car agile and quick. Everything about it was built for speed. Under the hood was the real star, the M88-1 engine. Designed by Paul Rocha, it was a 3.5-liter straight-six with 4 valves per cylinder and mechanical fuel injection. It made 277 horsepower in the road version, series power for the late 1970s. In racing trim, that number could climb above 470 horsepower, turning the M1 into a proper beast. The car's performance matched its looks. It could hit 100 kilometers per hour in 5.6 seconds and had a top speed of 265 kilometers per hour. The suspension used double wishbones all around, with coil springs, gas dampers, and anti-roll bars. It was built to corner hard and stay planted. Ventilated disc brakes kept it in control, even at high speeds. Inside the M1 was simple, but focused. It had bucket seats, clear gauges, and very few distractions. Even though it was road legal, it felt like it belonged on a track. In the autumn of 1978, BMW was finally ready to show the world what it had been working on. After years of planning, setbacks, and last-minute changes, the M1 made its official debut at the Paris Motor Show. This was one of the biggest car events in the world, and BMW knew the stakes were high. The buzz had been building for months. Whispers about a mid-engine BMW supercar had already stirred curiosity. So when the M1 rolled out onto the stage, it immediately turned heads. People loved what they saw. Journalists praised the car's sharp design and how it managed to look modern without going over the top. Fans and collectors were impressed too. It didn't take long for pre-orders to start rolling in. BMW had finally built a supercar and everyone wanted a piece of it. But even with the excitement, a few concerns were already creeping in. Some industry insiders wondered if BMW could actually build the 400 cars needed for racing approval. Others worried that splitting production between Italy and Germany might lead to delays or quality issues. For now though, none of that mattered. The M1 had arrived, and it made one hell of a first impression. Despite the excitement following the M1's reveal, reality hit hard when it came to meeting the production goals. Building 400 units wasn't going to be easy, especially with the complex supply chain BMW had put together. The chassis came from Marchesi, the fiberglass bodies were made by TIR, final assembly took place at Italdesign, and quality control was handled at Bauer. Managing all these different players across multiple countries created more headaches than anyone anticipated. Delays were inevitable. Some frames showed up late, others arrived damaged. The fiberglass panels, though innovative, weren't easy to produce consistently. As the pieces came together, production ground to a halt. Customers who had already placed deposits started getting frustrated. Meanwhile, Group 5 racing regulations shifted. Even if BMW managed to meet the 400 car target, the M1's chances of competing as planned started to fade. The FIA changed its focus to prototype racing, moving away from production-based GT cars. The dream of racing the M1 against brands like Porsche seemed to slip further away. But BMW wasn't ready to let the M1's racing potential go. Jochen Nierpasch, always thinking creatively, came up with a new idea: the BMW M1 Procar Championship. Instead of entering the Group 5 series, BMW would create its own one-make racing series, pitting professional Formula 1 drivers against each other in identical M1s. The Procar series debuted in 1979 as a supporting event for Formula One races, and it was an instant success. Fans loved seeing their F1 heroes like Niki Lauda, Mario Andretti, and Nelson Piquet fighting for victory in the same car. The races were intense, fast-paced, and thrilling. The M1s used in the Procar series were significantly upgraded, with engines now cranking out 470 horsepower, racing suspensions, and even more aerodynamic modifications. While the Procar series brought a new life to the M1, it was still a bittersweet victory. It didn't change the fact that the M1 had missed its original racing target. BMW had built one of the greatest cars of its time, but circumstances meant it had to race on its own terms. By the early 1980s, the M1 had quietly slipped from BMW's radar. In 1981, Jochen Nierpasch, the man who had been the driving force behind the project, left BMW Motorsport. This marked the symbolic end of the M1 era, but like many stories of greatness cut short, the M1's failure didn't vanish into the shadows. Instead, it laid the groundwork for something even bigger. The lessons learned and the technology developed during the M1 project directly contributed to the rise of BMW's M division. Cars like the E30 M3, the M5, and the entire M lineup owe their roots to the innovations and visions set in motion by the M1 team. Looking back, the BMW M1 has earned its place as a cult icon. What was once seen as a failure is now cherished by collectors for its rarity, its pioneering engineering, and its legacy as the greatest race car that never raced. More than just a car, the M1 symbolizes something deeply human: the pursuit of greatness, knowing full well that success isn't guaranteed. It shows that value can come from the journey itself, from the relentless push to build something remarkable, even if the finish line shifts along the way. Today, the M1 holds a place among legends not because of trophies won, but because it dared to exist at all. It reminds us that bold ideas, even those that stumble, can leave the deepest mark.